Hi, I'm Gabriela Krauca, student number 2331940, and this is my presentation for Unit 6 F&P Collection What on Earth. My theme for this unit is natural hazards and natural disasters, as well as pollution and climate change and global warming. So to collect my primary research, I went to Weston Park Museum in Sheffield, and I've collected some of these pictures for my primary research. In Weston Park Museum, they showcase a section which is entirely based on this subject, like natural disasters, fossil fuels, pollution, global warming, climate change, and the differences between then and now. These are some more fossils from the museum that I've taken pictures of for my primary research, and they've also had a section of ancient Egypt and jewellery from that section, which I thought would be interesting to incorporate. They've even had books of images and written facts, like from the global changes, which I couldn't read because it was in Egyptian. Here are some more pictures that I captured of rocks and more fossils, and I captured these specifically because they had some really nice patterns and crystals on them, which I thought would be really good for when I need to design. And they've also got this wall which I thought would be interesting to incorporate as well, and it's the food chain. And there's also another wall which shows a lot of animals that are going extinct today, which I think are on the next few slides. This is my mood board that I created, and it's got some of my primary images on it, and I've also added my colour palette and my logo on it. This is my customer profile board, and my customer is an actress who has been in a lot of action sci-fi movies, and she has an upcoming movie premiere that she needs to attend, and that is how I'll be designing a collection of dresses specifically for the event for my client. This is how I started off my sketchbook. I sketched some drawings from my secondary research, and I've also annotated and added some of the secondary research on. Here I've started going from 2D to 3D into my sketchbook. So what I have done is, from my secondary research, I created a drawing which was pollution of the shore, and to make it 3D I added some rubbish and hot glued it onto the page, but I put it into like corners and just to make it look like it's been trashed. And to add layers into my sketchbook, on card I added information from my secondary research. Here I've experimented with layering, so I first drew out a drawing from secondary research. This was for wildfires, and then I added media. I used watercolours and a black marker, and then to layer with card and tissue paper and a picture from my secondary research, I've layered these and annotated using secondary research. Here I've created some samples inspired from my secondary research, and I've done needle felting, and I've then annotated this with card, and on the other I've just created it from 2D to 3D also using cotton, and then splashed some watercolour paint on it. Here I've started designing, and I've experimented with the silhouettes and how to make it based off of my theme, and then I've annotated it a bit and said what the inspiration is and exactly what I've been adding on to my designs and like what elements there is. Here are some more designs that I've created, and here I've messed around with some patterns as well now, and they are inspired also from my primary research, and then I've also annotated this and said what the inspiration was from. When creating the toile, I had to create some more samples for my dress because it had a ruffle and I wasn't too sure on how I was going to make this. So I first experimented with different techniques to recreate like a cloud effect, because that's how the ruffle is inspired by, and like it needs to be inspired by a cloud of smoke. And I didn't really know how I was going to create this, so I've experimented with elastic and shearing elastic. Here I've started constructing my garment, and I've already made the main body for the dress, and I bleached the fabric first and then I let that dry before cutting out my pieces onto it. And in the second picture, with some calico, I pinned the calico on, and just to recreate the cloud-like ruffle, and then I pinned this in place so then I could spot tack it, and this will be the ruffle. This is when I'm actually making the ruffle part, so what I used was satin, and I've just cut out a long piece and making sure it's 60 centimeters wide, and then I've stitched the sides together and then ironed the open seam, and then I've just, on the mannequin, I've just pinned this in place how I wanted it. And initially I was gonna do this twice because I wanted one for the top and one for the bottom, but the satin was quite heavy, so I decided not to do the bottom and just keep the top part. Here I've just hand sewn some beads onto the dress, and I did this around the patterns, and I've done this before adding any facings on it and the ruffle. These are my final design boards that I created, and on the left is the design that I made, and for my design boards I used my mood board. These are some other of my final designs for my design boards, and I've also layered these with tracing paper to tone down the mood board so that my illustrations would stand out more. And I used my mood board because here you can visually see what the inspiration came for my whole collection, and it has all my primary images on it, and this just shows where it's all coming from. Again, these are the last few ones for my design boards, and I've also added my colour palette on to show the colour scheme of the whole collection and the whole inspiration for it. And these are some pictures of my photo shoot that I did, and here I've got the design that I made. Here for the photo shoot we tried different poses as well. We tried sitting as well, and we just looked at how to position the model so that we can show the dress off a lot more. And these are some more photos with the chair that we did, and we also decided to go for a bun for the hair because this way we can show off the ruffle part for it. Here is an up close view of the dress, and here you can see the ruffle and the little beads that have been sewn on. You can also see the bleached fabric that I did. Again, this is some more poses that we tried for the photo shoot, and my model did struggle a bit standing up because she was in heels, but we wanted to incorporate the heels because it's very elegant and the dress is very sophisticated, so that's the whole mood for the photo shoot. And this is the back view of my garment, and here you can see how the ruffle at the end just ties in together and how it all has been put together. And here we also tried different poses, side points and side views. Again, some more pictures, and most of my pictures are of my model sitting down because she was struggling to stand for a while, but we have also made some standing ones as well. These are some videos that I created of my model modelling my garment, and we did these so that you could really see how the dress just sits and how it all looks together and how it all just sits onto the person. And finally, here are all my links for my Tumblr, where I documented all my journey throughout this project, and my Instagram, an account that's all for my units and what I create and how I've done these. I've also got my self-assessment, my action plan and my press release.